Mm. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I hope everybody is having a fantastic little day. Welcome to the most watched show on the planet, Apostate Prophet and David Wood. We had a slight delay because I had to quickly check on my cam girls and see if they were.
Yeah, we had to slap them hoes.
Oh boy.
You know what's funny? I want to say this like 9 million times, but it's like, in reality, the best thing that has ever happened to the Tate brothers is that they got banned from social media, because that allowed them, all their content was taken down. And that allowed them to sort of reinvent themselves as, oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at the stuff that they were saying beforehand, it's like some of the most evil and misogynistic stuff ever. I mean, they're talking about like choking girls during sex and, all this stuff. Uh, and then, of course, Andrew Tate saying that if you're a woman and you get raped, you bear you're the responsible one for, if depending on what the situation was and stuff like that. But if you were in that situation, it's your fault. And so these are the kinds of things that they got banned for, but that allowed them to reinvent themselves and come back. It was just because of our empowering message to children and young men. That's why they came at us. And it allowed people. It's basically only clips resurfaced because everything just got mass taken down, and only clips that people were circulating resurfaced. And then they could just say, no, that was taken out of context. I was saying something perfectly wonderful back then. So it's actually like, this was the best thing that could have happened to them. If all their content was still up right now and they couldn't say it was taken out of context, these guys would be completely obliterated right now. But
I mean,
yeah,
it works on people who are right now sympathetic toward these two individuals. I mean, I see it all the time. People say stuff like, "Oh, they are just being targeted because they are challenging the system and they have such nice things to say to the younger generation, especially to young men. They are such a motivation." And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I mean, have you sat down to just look a little bit into what they actually stand for, what they have done so far in their lives, what they have said online so far?
yeah, and earlier, so before they got shut down, all their stuff is about controlling women and
Yeah.
using women to make money. And I mean, you've got the clip with Andrew Tate saying that he owed money to these crime bosses and stuff, and they're going to kill him if he doesn't come up with the money. And so he said, I looked around for it. I had 70,000, but I needed 100,000. So I looked around at, what do I have that I can sell? And the only thing that I had to sell was my girlfriends. And it's like, this is like evil, sick stuff, but everything is about pimping and controlling women and using women for pornography to make money. And then the methodology of how to manipulate these women who had no interest in doing that and who thought it was gross to be webcam girls, how you manipulate them into doing it. Everything is about that. And all of the hard work aspects, get off your lazy butt and get it done. That stuff was in reference to, hey, you need to really go out there and work hard at getting these girls to fall in love with you so you can manipulate them into becoming your
Yeah.
webcam girls. But you have to work hard. You have to hustle. I mean, he's sitting there and I sit there and I'm the one texting these guys who are looking at these webcam girls. I'm the one sitting there texting these messages, getting these guys all turned on, and I get $500 out of them. It's like, but he's saying this is what you have to do. You have to hustle. So the message about working hard and stuff was in reference to building your porn kingdom. And then they all get banned, and then they get blasted in the media, and then they come back and, yes, we were just empowering young men to work hard and so on. And then everyone goes, duh, really? That's why they were attacked? That's why they're getting banned, for their empowering message to young guys and for going against wokeism? Really?
It's just like when Sneeko says, "I was banned for speaking the truth," yeah. And he was actually banned for I don't know, sexual harassment, implying sexual assault toward another actual female YouTuber.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
you shared that clip. Where did I see that? Where did
saying
I
some
see
really
that?
dehumanizing stuff. I mean, lots of people posted about it afterwards, after it happened. I only became aware of it um, a few weeks ago when I commented on it and when I shared it. But he apparently is live reviewing this woman who is a YouTuber, and he's annoyed by the stuff that she says. And then he starts acting like, you know, she just needs to, and starts acting out these things, and
Yeah, I
even
saw it. It's pretty sick.
acting out her being scared, like like that, and then he says, and now they will see this and they will call me an incel and whatever, you know. And then he just repeats those things, and that's the kind of stuff that got Sneeko banned. And now he's going around saying, they are after me because I speak the truth, because they don't like the truth.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, guys, if people wonder why we're going to, you know, keep addressing these things as new videos and new situations unfold with, you know, the Sneekos and the Tate brothers of the world, there's you have the Dawa guys who are now going all in on this approach. Hey, this is the direction we need to go in, celebrating these new influencers and so on. So they're using this for Dawa purposes, but there is, even if this had nothing to do with Dawa, there is this other side of the story. Like, if you can just mass manipulate people at this level this quickly, like you could spend years of your life talking about porn and abusing women and all this stuff, and then just turn around and say, nope, I never said that. It's all out of context. And I'm just a champion of, you know, the anti-woke movement and so on. And people fall for that. That's pretty, that's something to be concerned about. That now any group, you can jump into any group, be the hero of that group, lie about everything you've ever done, everything you've ever stood for, completely turn it around overnight just by saying, now I'm part of this group. You might want to be aware of that, because that's probably going to lead to some problems beyond Andrew Tate.
It's true, and to me, it's not even about Islam anymore. Like, I commented very briefly on Andrew Tate before he even converted to Islam, a few times, and I was just like, this guy is a complete idiot, waste of time, you know, whatever it is. I just made these comments and moved on. After he converted to Islam, I still didn't say much about him, but as I found out more, and as the case evolved, I realized this is some really messed up stuff, and people do not dig. They don't go into the detail, into all the information that is not out there. They just take this guy by his word, because he is a storyteller. You know, you have to give him that. He's a good storyteller. He captivates the audience by making up stories and changing the information that he presents, by the way, every single time he tells the story, where you can clearly tell that the guy's lying. But he is a good storyteller, you know, that and people like listening to such people and don't like questioning such people further beyond their own word, and don't like digging for all the details. I look through Twitter and I see that nobody is really doing it. Even the people who dislike him and what he does severely, many of them don't talk about the things that he actually did and the evidence of everything that exists, the evidence that we have online, that we have always had, the evidence that the Romanian prosecution published and leaked to the media. All of it is accessible on the internet, but it's not out there. People are not doing it. So I started getting a little bit, maybe even to a level, obsessive about finding every single thing that is out there to find about Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and compiling everything and tweeting about some of them and publishing them, because it's beyond Islam. I mean, I'm not even connecting it with Islam anymore at this point, when I just talk about Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, because it is just about human trafficking and about how such horrendous people can just influence such audiences, influence the masses, and even captivate people. And this is what disgusts me about this whole thing the most. Even influence people who have for years said that they are all about family values and about preventing and fighting degeneracy and fighting exploitation and stuff like that. And these same people now go around saying, well, Andrew Tate is such a good guy, such a good influence, hero, and this and that. And I'm sitting there and it hurts. It honestly hurts.
It's absolutely amazing, because I mean, if everyone is watching, if you can actually get away with this stuff, My goodness. I mean, take someone that someone is like, take someone who's, you know, lived a pretty degenerate. You can take someone who's lived a degenerate life doing horrible things. Like, so in the news earlier, you've got the Hunter Biden stuff. I don't know what the issue is. I know that like he's been smoking crack and banging prostitutes for many years. This is not, oh, I'm looking down on him. That's like I mean, people know about drugs in my family and stuff like that. So I could be like, yeah, I understand what happens when you know, get addicted to drugs, especially if you're born rich with a, you know, silver spoon in your mouth and you could get away with it for you. You can spend your entire life doing that. But notice, I mean, so this Hunter Biden has been smoking crack and banging prostitutes for years. Imagine if he were to just come out tomorrow and say, the media is attacking me for being such a good influence and for my good influence on young men. And all I've ever said, all this my entire life has just been I've been going around telling young men to be strong and to stand up for what's right and to make something of themselves and to stop sitting around playing video games all the day. And that's why the media is attacking me. And just, you think that's insane. There's a 0% chance that would ever work. And you look at Andrew Tate and say, no, Hunter, you might want to pull that card because it works. You can actually be successful. You could be successful at that. And just make some videos about Hunter Biden could just make some videos telling young men, hey guys, stop playing the video games, get off your butt, work hard, get a Bugatti. And I don't know, it seems like you'd have millions of people going, they're just coming after him for his empowering message to young men. It's just, my goodness.
That's also the issue. I mean, I haven't been exactly mincing my words when it comes to Jordan Peterson and calling him out on hypocrisy or other people for that matter. But I recently also called him out on Twitter. I don't know if you've seen that.
I saw that. You called everyone out for being...
Yeah. 4 people, Jordan Peterson, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, and Michael Knowles, because every single day I log on and I read and I see these people talk about random crap that doesn't even concern anyone, that doesn't even, you know, make it to the public light, but they somehow dig it out and criticize it and talk about it. Jordan Peterson makes a huge fuss about a woman on a magazine because she's not fit, and makes a huge deal out of this, and it turns into a huge international issue. And all of these people talk forever about grooming and call everything that you know, that has something to do with a younger audience grooming and so on. But then they are all suddenly so quiet when it comes to Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, who have a huge overlapping audience with Jordan Peterson, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, and Michael Knowles. Coincidence? And who do some extremely horrible things that should be against everything these guys stand for. Who groom little girls, who groom young women, who go out and trick women into online porn, who assign overseers to these women and make them forcibly constantly produce online porn, steal their money, threaten them with beatings,
and killing. You saw the ones from Luana and so on. We'll kill you. You're going over the balcony if you don't get this out right now.
Yeah, and killing, and they teach other people to do this as well, and say you should do is you have to constantly have sex with them and subdue them and do this and that to them. What else was there?
Yeah, but by the way, that's another issue, because Tate's defense in court is going to be, I was just playing a character for all that stuff. I wasn't really doing all that stuff I said I was doing to women. I was just playing a character for videos. And it's like, okay, so best case scenario, if we believe that you were lying and all of that, you're still training people to do that, right? You're teaching young men, this is how you make it in the world. You make it on, you know, with girls stripping in front of webcams so you can make money. So it's like, okay, so you weren't actually doing stuff. You're just lying to get other people to do this stuff. And it's like, it's not exactly better there, sport.
Yeah, and so seeing that these specific people on the conservative side of the spectrum are completely quiet about this.
So the point to be made there was, if if Tate, which I don't even know what it, I'm not convinced that Tate has any actual positions beyond whatever is most convenient for him at
It's
influencing
money.
an audience at any time. Yeah, whatever's gonna get him money at any given point. Um, but yeah, if he were on some opposite side of the aisle on some of these issues, and if he weren't anti woke, if he were the exact same person, but he was defending, the woke side or something like that, they'd probably be blasting him as like public enemy number one.
They would be all over him,
Yeah,
all the time. Yeah,
that's true. That's correct.
they would be all over him. But since the political sides are twisted, and since they have overlapping fan bases, they're acting
Yeah,
like they're acting like they have no idea that this is actually going on. Although it is
yeah.
like it is what everyone is talking about right now. But so to be fair, Matt Walsh, I think, is the only one out of those four that I mentioned who actually uh, criticized Andrew Tate in the past severely, and also told his own viewers not to follow this guy and not to take him seriously. But that's it. He left it at that.
Mhm.
In my opinion, that is not enough, because you have so much time to deal with all kinds of minor issues on the left, but that is all you are doing for that. Michael Knoll said some harsh things about him 6 months ago and hasn't uttered a single word about him since then, as far as I can see. Jordan Peterson mentioned him once during a podcast fleetingly as a narcissistic individual who who emerges in a society where morals are disappearing, and once only answered a question for like 1 minute where he said, I don't like pimps, but I don't know enough about him to comment further on him. That's all he said. The same guy who tweets about how women should appear on sports magazines. And Ben
Yeah.
Shapiro, he criticizes rap singers, women who make songs that he finds inappropriate, so harshly. But he thinks this whole Andrew Tate thing is just slightly problematic. Yeah, but whatever. And I can't
Yeah.
take it. I can't tolerate that.
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, you want to say, okay, these guys have their stuff that they focus on, but it seems like a lot of what I mean, yeah, you don't have to go over everything. Like, people ask us, why do you focus on Islam? Well, that's a lot of what we focus on, because there's not enough people focusing on some of these problems. So we get the kind of, why don't you respond to everything else? And so on the one hand, you'd want to say, okay, Ben Shapiro and all these guys, they don't have to respond to everything that's happening. But yeah, this is such a huge thing that's going on. If you really want to address problems in society and so on, then I mean, that's a big one. Why are you worried about? Notice it's the reverse of what like Tate's fans are saying. If you say, look at what Tate did, they go, but what about Cardi B? But like the conservative commentators are going, look at Cardi B, but we'll ignore what Andrew Tate's what Andrew Tate's doing. And so it's this weird situation. But yeah, it does seem like it's just, we don't want to upset a fan base in this sort of loose confederation when we're all focused on whatever they're focused on. Like if their main concern is like trans stuff going on, it seems like they want to keep that alliance going on. But notice that, I mean, the ongoing concern here is, if you're going to let Tate slide on all these things, despite the fact of all these, millions of people rallying around him, and he's sort of connected to like the Daniel Hakikachu stuff, and you guys are, well, we're going to focus on the trans stuff because they're going after kids. Well, I don't know, that Daniel Hakikachu camp is going after kids too. So if you really want to keep kids safe, you probably want to deal with the people who are trying to restart up child marriage globally. That might be a priority here, but it's just not.
Yeah. Some people mentioned Candace Owens. Candace Owens actually defended and praised Andrew Tate. Tim Pool joined in the conspiracy that this is just a crackdown on some great guy who speaks out against the agenda. But I'm not even taking those people seriously. I don't think they have actual values. To be very honest, I'll say that every day. I don't think Tim Pool and Candace Owens have actual values that stand for anything. I'm specifically talking about these other people, and I'm saying that only for myself. I don't want to speak in David's name here. But I'm specifically talking and pointing at these other more conservative value guys like Jordan Peterson, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, and the others, because I would expect them to say something. You know?
I'm thinking of it in terms of, connected to what we were talking about earlier, that the best thing that happened to these guys was that the internet scrubbed their stuff. And then stuff only circulated as little clips, which they could then claim as out of context. Because keep in mind, most of us weren't paying attention to Andrew Tate. So we're most people who are commenting on Andrew Tate right now following him beforehand? No. So when they want to know, hey, what's up with Andrew Tate? And it's like the BBC attacking him, but they have overlapping fan bases with Andrew Tate. And they hear from that overlapping fan base is it's just his empowering message to young people, and they're just upset that he's going against wokeism. Oh, he's a good guy then. It seems like, oh, he's on our side against wokeism. So yeah, he can't be all that bad. Not realizing it's like a joke. I can't even tell what he actually believes, because when you can do a video, of course, I'm 100% a misogynist. And then another video where you're being attacked for it. I'm not a misogynist. I love women. I will defend women to the death and blah, 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 blah. And hey, is that your website? And is that your video? Is that your method? No, it's not. And you look at another video. Of course, that's my website and my video. Of course it is. Right. And it's like, there comes a point where I'm like, maybe you believe some of what you're saying. I have no idea, because I can't tell, because you act exactly the same, whether you're lying or telling the truth. And so there's just no telling the difference. But so, yeah, I mean, I get it when someone actually believes that he's being attacked by the Matrix and so on. It's just, if you're not going to do the slightest bit of real investigating, probably keep your mouth shut about it. You've got all these people like rushing to his defense, and they clearly haven't looked at it at all.
Yeah. The only thing that surprised me a little bit was that Lauren Southern, and she was problematic to me. I've always had this, I like what she's doing, but I also don't, because she was like hanging around with really extreme political movements and stuff. But I think I kind of always viewed her as a genuine person. And recently she had this big change in her views, and she actually started speaking out against this whole this misogyny under the guise of man is fair and men's rights and stuff. And she started criticizing and going against her own crowd, and also calling out these people who get close to Islam because they hate women so much. And I don't know, that's quite impressive to me. But yeah, go ahead. Do you want to say something?
Oh yeah, so I guess what the point there, as far as her being willing to say something, she probably has an overlapping fan base with them. And so I guess what you're saying is she's got an overlapping fan base, and yet she was willing to speak out. Yeah. This is I don't know. I don't think the next 6 months are going to be boring, because there's stuff that happens every day. And then we're going to get the Andrew Tate trial, and it's so weird. Still, every time anyone posts anything about Andrew Tate, you get all his fanboys. There is zero evidence against him. Like, where have you been? How are you not looking at all this stuff against him? And what you find is they just listen to Andrew Tate say there's no evidence against him, and they say, okay, there's no evidence against him. But yeah, probably the best witness of what the actual state of the evidence is the compulsive liar, who is the one going to trial for this stuff.
I mean, you can tell that these people are not even that these people are just listening to the Tates and blindly taking whatever they are saying, because like when the charges came out, one of the charges was that they hold those women, make them create online content, and steal their money. And Tristan Tate then made a tweet in which he completely misconstrued that for his own audience, and said they are saying we make girls publish TikTok videos and take their TikTok money. How much money could that possibly be? Like in a mocking way. And then people actually take that and come to me and say they're just charging them for taking the girls' TikTok money. Yeah. You are obviously parroting what you just heard him
Yeah.
say, and that is not even true. That's not true at all. Like, we have the evidence, the transcript which the prosecution released, where they specifically talk about many sources, including OnlyFans, TikTok, and other sources.
Mhm.
And this
And
is how
you
people
look
are.
at it, like even that those text messages from what's her name? Luana and
Georgiana or
Georgiana, whatever, where they're saying this girl didn't put out her quota of TikTok videos, and they're going to kill her and they're going to kill her, and they're going to if Andrew finds out about you're going right over the balcony and stuff like that. So they're threatening to kill this woman over a TikTok video, and so the takes now what TikTok? What's that? The TikTok videos were a system for funneling people either to your OnlyFans page or to Tate's war room and stuff like that. So either way, they're continuing. So notice they want the videos, the TikTok videos out there to the biggest population of people to funnel people to where you make more money. And so that's part of their entire system. It's like, get your advertisement out there to get more people so you can make us more money.
This is what we are talking about, what we have mentioned several times now. This is actually one of the transcripts that the prosecution released to the press, and is roughly translated. But here is, and these are taken from messaging apps, including WhatsApp conversations between these people. So Luana is one of the two assistants of Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and Georgiana is the other one. And these two are basically these tyrannical overseers who make sure that the girls are doing everything right and keeping them in check and all that. And Yasmina here, or Jasmina, however you want to say it, is one of the models who does online content and makes money.
So to be clear, this would have been some woman that Andrew Tate messaged, and he starts messaging her about how he really likes her, and she falls in love with him, and hey, come work for me. I mean, no, come out here so we can get married maybe and have a relationship, and you'll be the one for me. And then a few months later, she's his webcam girl and so on. And then this is how you get treated when you are on staff at Tate Brothers Enterprises.
Yeah. And here you have, here you see how it works internally. Luana says, we split on OnlyFans. Look, this transcript especially explicitly mentions OnlyFans as a source of income, right? G takes O. I'm not entirely sure what that refers to. G takes O. I take you. Maybe you're not listening because I will kill you if we don't make money. That's what one of the women says to the model. The other one says, punch yourself in the mouth or punch yourself in the face until I arrive, because then I'll give you another 10, you lazy bastard. I will break you when I get there. The model... Go ahead.
I just want to say, apparently all of this is because she didn't release a TikTok video the day before.
Yeah. The model, Yasmina, says, what did I do? Georgiana says, you have 1 hour and 10 minutes to disappear. And she says again, what did I do? And she says, better said, what didn't you do yesterday for an hour? You are 20% down, 4 days since you posted. I'm waiting for yesterday's money. And then it says, well, if Andrew looks to see if you've posted TikToks, you won't even have time to pack. You're flying out of the balcony straight away. This is actual, authenticated, verified transcripts from the employees of Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and one of the models. And you have plenty of these. This is only part of what they published to the press, what they gave to the press. They have everything. And you also have, I think this was here. Oh, here is a piece of Andrew Tate where he says to one of the girls, whom he approached first by saying, I will give you so much love. Just come and live a wonderful life with me. Let us marry. I will take you to Romania, and so on. Here he says, you don't go anywhere without one of the three people. And she says, why are you so cold to me? You can clearly see that she's pointing out that he's being very cold to her, because prior to this, before she got into the business, he lured her in by being this completely romantic.
I thought we were in love.
Yeah,
I thought we were in love. Now, shocker. Once I got here, you've changed.
Yeah. Then he says, don't go out alone without telling me. Mall, supermarket, nowhere from now on. And she says, I told you I wanted to go alone. And she says, it's the last warning. this is only part of one of the conversations where it gets more intense, I think. But yeah, so this is how they how they treated the people. But then commenters are like,
there's no evidence that Tate has done any of this stuff.
Yeah, and then people comment on this stuff, and they're like, but the girls, they were not in cages, they didn't have chains attached to their legs. Yeah, it's wild, man.
I mentioned if you watch Bruce Rivers, so he's an actual attorney. He said that the standard definition of trafficking is that you're getting a woman into some sex work or pornography or something like that, but how you do it involves force, fraud, or coercion. Those are the criteria. So if you hire a woman to do something, that's one thing. If you do it in such a way that involves force, fraud, or conversion or coercion, then it's sex trafficking. It's a different story. But so notice when Tate says he's tricking these women into falling in love with him and getting them to leave their country and come to Romania in order to, for a relationship, because he's really interested in them. And then he manipulates them into becoming webcam girls. That's fraud. That's fraud. The violent stuff, the threats and intimidation and so on, that's coercion. But the pretending to be in a relationship for purposes of profiting off these women's, pornography, if that involved fraud, then that's a crime. That's sex trafficking. Now, the thing is, it would be hard to prove that someone was just doing this to get a girl to become his webcam girl. In other words, if you were to go to court and say he pretended to love me in order to get me to become a webcam girl, that would be hard to prove, because the guy could just say, no, I did love her. And then I changed my mind later and just wanted her to become my webcam girl. It would be hard to prove in court that you were sex trafficking her and weren't actually in love with her, that it was just fraud. The problem for Andrew Tate is he made like 1 million videos saying that's what he was doing, right? So the entire time he's doing it, he's saying, yes, I'm tricking these girls. I'm duping these girls. This is how you do it. You can absorb my methodology. So he's going to have to go to court and say, no, that wasn't my methodology. And by the way, that's why in the BBC interview, that's why the BBC woman was asking him about that. She wanted him to say, yes, that's my method, because then he's guilty. That would be used in court. And that's why Andrew Tate knew, do not acknowledge that I was tricking these women. Don't do it, because if he acknowledges that, then that would be used in court. And so he had to deny, that's not my website. That's not my method, even though there are all these videos of saying that's his website and that's his method. But he was getting ready for court.
This graph is quite clear. It makes it quite simple what David just described. So these are things that make it trafficking, and here it's like the act of recruitment, marked in their case by means of deception, such as when they say, you are my one and only, I'm in love with you, I will take you there and we will get married and this and that, and then it turns out that the marriage is not taking place, plus he said the same thing to all the other people just to get them there. So recruitment, deception for the purpose of sexual exploitation, specifically what he says. As a result, and all of this done for monetary gain, this is by definition human trafficking, sex trafficking. And in Romania is quite familiar with this, and they will handle this case accordingly.
Yeah, so what Andrew Tate has been saying for years, and what we have evidence of, qualifies as human trafficking in multiple different ways. But the people responding and defending him are like, but it's not this other form of sex trafficking. Right. We agree. It's not the same as taking a 6-year-old and putting her in a cage. And so we agree. It's not the same thing. Those are two different forms of sex trafficking. What do these forms of sex trafficking have in common? It's sex trafficking. That's what they have in common. They're different forms of the same thing.
Well, let's listen to this very quickly, where he explains it for everyone else and makes it very easy for us. And then we can finally look at the Tristan Tate video.
What is that tank top?
It was all about trying to get paid. Like I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense. Like I was not trying to have sex with women. I was trying to get women to obey me. And I realized that's easier if they like to have sex with me. If they don't like having sex with me, it's pretty hard to make them listen to me.
this guy thinks, he sits there and thinks, oh, I'm such a genius. I found this way to make women work for me, not realizing that he's not the one who came up with this. People have done this for a long time, and this is actually a crime. And now he realizes this and tries to be like, no, I was just pretending. I wasn't. No, I never said that. No, that's not me.
Yeah, notice it's a similar thing where he apparently just doesn't know what breaking the law is, right? It's like when all these videos where he says that, hey, instead of paying taxes on the money, I just instantly put everything into Bitcoin. It's like you don't know that that's illegal, that just putting your money into Bitcoin does not mean that you don't have to pay taxes on it. So that's a situation. He just doesn't know what the law is, and then he just acknowledges all these laws that he's breaking for all these years, and now he's going to have to go into court and say all that stuff was just a lie. I made up all that stuff. I wasn't doing any of it.
It wasn't me.
Cannot get a girl to work for you having fucked. So the recruitment
Language alert.
Well, it's an atheist channel, so
process is the same as the PhD course. You message them on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl.
Okay, so this is just another version. This version is long. This video is 3 minutes long, but here he explains in much more detail how he actually does it. He pretends that he loves them, then he slowly makes them get used to the love and makes them attach to himself. Then he invites one of his women who are loyal, his so-called bottom bitch, who then comes in and tells that other woman, hey, this is amazing. There are so many other women who work with him and they make so much money and he loves them so much, and so on. And then, you know the rest of the story. And here I want to quickly bring this one up because
misconception about human.
This is actually very important to bring up, just to highlight what we are talking about when it comes to human trafficking.
Misconception about human trafficking cases where the public may think the particular victim has been abducted from another country or lured, and then they're under extreme coercive situation to perform in the sex industry. Whereas the majority of the cases come under this type of lover boy method, where an individual, a male, will then befriend an individual, almost groom them, pretend to fall in love with them, have a relationship with them, and then lure them in to work in the sex industry.
And as soon as the person has gotten there, then they're kind of trapped in the situation.
The funny thing is, not funny, the pretty dark thing about this is that many of the women who get into it and who actively do things for these people, at some point, they don't even often realize that they are being trafficked and exploited, that this is actually human trafficking. Because people like Andrew Tate specifically, make a system of manipulating and lying and giving them this fake sense of love, and oh, you mean so much to me. This is all just for you, and and we will be great together. And maybe one day you will not have to do this anymore. And meanwhile, he's stealing money from them, and so on. And there's even one of the messages that were leaked to the media. Where one of the women says something like to her parents, she texts and says, "You guys were right. These people are horrible people. I have to get away from here. I am now realizing that this is literally human trafficking, and I want to get the others out too," is what she says. And this is how it goes. It doesn't always go like in the movies where they kidnap you at gunpoint and put you in cages and stuff. This is how it very often goes. And this is what Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate have done, for which they will hopefully pay.
Hey, check out the comment from Chia over there.
Who?
Chia Kusai.
Chia Kusai. I just found out that nikah doesn't mean marriage. It's disgusting because the hadith make use of the word. Also, the verse on multiple wives isn't really what those losers have been preaching.
Is that from Chia?
I think so.
Oh, I was looking at a different one. It says, "Hey, David and AP, I'm Muslim and I learned more about Islam from y'all than these Muslim influencers."
That's nice. That's cool. That is cool. Cool. All right, let's get into this. Here is Tristan Tate on this podcast of this guy. What's his name? Patrick Bet David. And
That's not him. I think is that him or that's the other guy, right?
No, this is not him. The other guy is, but I'm
the other
saying
guy, the older guy.
It's his podcast. So let's see.
Or Sapala.
Okay.
So shout out to Matt Sapala, by the
He's
way. If
gonna
you're
love
watching
this.
this, you're gonna love this. The finest of gentlemen, the Tates and the Sapala. That's it. That's a quick shout out. I very rarely smoke cigars, but if I do, it's with the Tate.
Well,
and
actually, Matt Sapala did a Minect call.
Wait a minute. This is where I put the thumbnail. The
Tate comes out, Andrew comes out recently announcing he's a Muslim,
Yeah.
right? But in the podcast with us, he said, you're still a Christian.
Yes.
What is that conversation like between the two of you?
Well, you have to understand, if you are a fan of Andrew who watches him on the internet, oh, he's converted to Islam, that's sudden. It wasn't sudden. It was a journey that I saw him go on, which certainly lasted at least 10, 11 months up into the day he reverted, according to Muslims. So I'll use the proper terminology. Up until the day he reverted. I became a Christian about 6 years ago. I spent a lot of my life as an atheist. I'm so ashamed to say that. I don't like the word. I think it's a bad word now.
Yeah, burn them up. Burn them up. Burn up these atheists. All right, go ahead.
It's a bad word.
I'm starting to like this guy now. Go ahead. Talk some more. Tell us more about how you don't like atheists.
It's funny to me that he's like Andrew Tate. It was a long process, 7 months of converting to Islam. I imagine Andrew Tate, of course, had these big spiritual journeys and deep thinking about the meaning of life, and figured out that Islam must be the truth because it makes so much sense and all that. When in reality, we know out of Andrew Tate's mouth himself that he just converted because he thinks it's better for society, for his own.
And that's the real journey that he was on. And he was posting things. He was posting things about Islam long before he converted.
Yeah.
So this is 2020. So he converted last year in 2022. This is his tweet from his banned account. This is why I said the best thing that could ever happen to these guys is they got banned. So he used to post all the time early, and you can find stuff about him saying haram, haram, haram on the Wayback Machine going back.
Oh yeah.
But he was very often, especially apparently when he was visiting like Dubai and places like that, he'd start posting about Allah and calling things haram and so on. But this is one of the tweets that got him banned. But he says, Allah has given a man urges. It is the duty of the woman to hide her body and not notice he says Allah has given a man urges. It is the duty of the woman to hide her body and not awaken the urges of men, or she is wholly responsible for his actions. The consequences of enticing a man's sexual urges are the fault of the woman alone. Dress modestly. This is coming from a webcam telling women, dress modestly or you deserve to be raped. So notice, but he's talking about Allah. This is 2020. So this is part of his journey. The point is his journey was longer than 6 or 7 months. It was years of him realizing, wow, Islam really lines up with how I think women who aren't my webcam girls should behave.
I also had a compilation of tweets that somebody posted. I think I bookmarked it somewhere, where he mentions Islam several times in the past, many years ago. And it's all just references of like, Islam is against this. That's why Islam is good. Islam is intolerant. That's why it's good. And just stuff like that. It's like there's no real meaning attached to it. Just there are some things in society that are degenerate, and Islam is very violently against that. And that's cool. That's it.
Yeah. Here's another gem from Tate in 2020. I hold her neck and spit in her face while telling her I'm going to cheat on her. I say, stay still, you stupid bee, while I leave that out. That's my love language. So his love language is grabbing a girl by the neck and spitting in her face while telling her I'm going to cheat on you. That's his love language. This is the guy that's like this pillar of morality who's only being attacked by the Matrix for his great moral values.
That's fantastic. I think there was also a tweet by Tristan, Tate, by the way, where he says something like about sex, that he's unnecessarily violent during sex, and he says
Yeah, he
something
said
like,
that unnecessarily violent during sex. And no, he said I'm always unnecessarily violent during sex.
"Oh yeah."
And these are the guys that it's just because of their empowering message to young men. That's why the Matrix is attacking them.
And now you will have some incel people say, "But women like it." So, and I don't even know how to approach that ridiculous statement. But
Because I was young and naive and stupid enough to think that people could be.
You're still there.
And live in a perfect, harmonious society without the need for religion.
all right, okay, let's listen to this part again. So he's talking about atheism, all right? Atheism.
Because I was young and naive and stupid terminology up until the day he reverted. I became a Christian about 6 years ago. I spent a lot of my life as an atheist. I'm so ashamed to say that. I don't like the word. I think it's a bad word.
Notice that's what I'm ashamed about.
I think that people could be.
We're not ashamed about all the sex trafficking and stuff, but
You know what's so funny? When he mentions that he was an atheist and he's so ashamed of it, doesn't it appear like that to you too? This is something that you would say if you feel a little bit insecure and you look for the approval of other people who are listening to you right now and want to make yourself look better in their eyes.
yeah, if especially him, more so like Andrew for a while has been making fun of Christians. Tristan seems to be, he's posted multiple tweets and said it in videos where he wants to form a Christian Muslim alliance and so on, that Christians and Muslims should be united in combating the ills of society and so on. So it seems like, and that's the point, when all I know about you is that you habitually lie. I am not going to take something seriously that you're saying, even if you happen to be authentic when you're saying that. You've destroyed my ability to trust you. Until you just come clean and just acknowledge everything you've lied about, it's going to be really, really difficult to trust what you're saying. So right here, is he saying, I'm so ashamed of when I was an atheist and I realized the importance of religion? That is a point that someone could make. Or is he saying that just for practical purposes, I'm trying to court the favor of Christians and Muslims right now, and I want everyone rallying around me? Is he saying it because of that? That's the point. I don't know.
That's the one.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, it would be the latter. So it's like, let me put it this way. I want to make this point. Everyone else seems to be listening to like the Tate brothers and for something they agree with, and then say, you see, I agree with that. Whereas I'm looking at it, it's like, if you say something that I agree with and you're a compulsive liar and manipulator, and you say something I agree with, I'm not going to yay and celebrate that you agree with me on something, because I have no way of knowing if you really believe what you're saying right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Young and naive and stupid enough.
Was that in this one? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, I'll get back to it.
I think that people could be perfectly moral and live in a perfect, harmonious society without the need for religion. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I looked around the world, literally, at what people were doing. The massive...
Not at my porn business. I looked at everyone else. By the way, is it? I mean, it's amazing. Their dad. If I recall correctly, maybe people have been following a little more closely than I have, but their dad was kicked out of the military because he was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the guy's apparently a genius. He was a chess champion, but he gets kicked out of the military for being a narcissist. And you listen to these guys, and one of the characteristics, if you didn't know anything else about them, the fact that they can look at other places in the world and say, well, that's bad, and be completely oblivious to how messed up they are. I mean, this is the same guy who did a training course on how to seduce virgins, right? How to seduce virgins. And he said, it's not for the sex. He's saying sex with a virgin isn't even good sex. it's just to imprint, it's to put your psychological imprint on these girls and ruin them for all other men and so on. That's their mentality. And then of course there's all the grooming and getting girls. According to the Tate brothers, they're getting girls who had no interest and who would never dream of doing webcam stuff. How do you get them to do it anyway? Through manipulation. And he's saying that right in the middle of all this, right in the middle of these guys making their millions through as porn kingpins, he's looking around at the world going, look at all the immorality here. I need religion to deal with this immorality out there. Not my immorality, everyone else's. Yeah, Tristan, you might be more comfortable in Islam, buddy.
I'm just trying to look up why he was discharged from the military. I will check later.
You know, the degeneracy in society, and everyone's an atheist. I thought, are these my people? And I was living in Romania, the most Orthodox Christian country in the world. My daughter's maternal grandfather is actually an Orthodox Christian priest. And I picked up the Bible again, and I read it from cover to cover, front to back. And that was 6 years ago when I became a Christian. Now, ever since Andrew's reversion, I have not spoken about my religious beliefs because
wait, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. Society is he criticizing as an atheist society? Which
he's saying that its basic position is he was an atheist and he thought. But notice he's even thinking in practical terms, right? Not hey, I realized that there must be a creator, and I realized that Jesus rose from the dead. It's I realized, I at one point thought that atheism could sort of, like the world could be atheistic and you could end up with everything functioning well. He realized the need for a religion. He's got some relative of his daughter or something like this, or great-great-grand uncle's cousin or whatever is a Orthodox priest or something like that, read the Bible, converted, and then he just said that since his brother's conversion, he hasn't really talked about.
But the thing that I miss and that I don't understand is he looks at atheists and thinks, "Are these my people?" And he's in Romania and he talks about the Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox Christians. I want to quickly understand where
my daughter,
whom he views in what way and what he says about Romania.
The massive fetishization, the need for religion. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I looked around the world, literally, at what people were doing. The massive fetishization, I'll call it, of abortion, the degeneracy in society, and everyone's an atheist. I thought, are these my people? And I was living in Romania, the most Orthodox country.
Good point.
He's
got a point.
My daughter's maternal grandfather is actually an Orthodox Christian priest. And I picked up the Bible again.
Okay, so he looks into the world.
My daughter's sister's uncle's cousin's grandfather was an Orthodox priest. So,
okay, but he looks into the world and he sees all the degeneracy and abortion and this and that, and everyone's an atheist.
Yep, got that right.
Okay, who's an atheist here?
All the bad people.
How is everyone an atheist?
All the evil people.
And then he is in Romania and he's surrounded by Orthodox Christians, right? And
probably along the lines of, it seems the same thing lots of people are doing. Look at all the stuff that's screwed up in America. Hey, you don't see a lot of, oh, look, there's some nice Christians here in Romania. They're not doing that stuff. So let me go with that.
I would never sit here and say Christians are especially bad. A Christian society is especially corrupt. A Christian society is especially this and that. I would never say an atheist society is that way. But what I don't understand is, I'm specifically pausing here. I'm feeling a little bit confused because I know Romania.
Too bad. Atheists. There are atheists in the world, and there's all sorts of degeneracy.
I know Romania, and he's talking about Romania as Orthodox Christians, and Andrew Tate was right about one thing, that Romania is one of the most religious countries in Europe in terms of people who say, I take my religion seriously. But I don't connect this to religion. He is. But how does he sit there and conclude that that this is an atheism problem when he's in Romania, which is notoriously known in Europe as one of the worst countries in terms of corruption, sex crimes, human trafficking,
maybe you
and so on.
Maybe you didn't hear him, AP. Let me restate it. He looked around at what's amazing is it's like Christian churches that there are it's rare. You kind of read about them and so on, but there are churches that like they focus on homosexuality as the sin that they talk about like every week, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute. I mean, look at this fat guy sitting in the front row. The Bible condemns gluttony too. Why don't you talk about that? Because it's like people want to focus on like anything I'm doing. We're not going to talk about that. But if there's something I'm not doing that other people are doing, then let's focus on that. But right there, what he said, I mean, all the things that these guys are doing right now, you're talking crime, trafficking, pornography. They're doing all this stuff, fraud, tax evasion. They're doing all this stuff. And you say, okay, what's the degeneracy that you're talking about, Tristan? Abortion. Why? That's probably the one thing this guy's not doing, right? It's probably the one thing this guy's not doing. And so I can see, and guys, that's another symptom of narcissism. You can only see stuff that other people are doing, and you just zero in on that. And that's the problem that we need to, that's the problem in the world that we need to solve, whatever the thing is that I'm not doing. And so, yeah, it's easy to do that. And by the way, this all overlaps into what we were talking about with the fan bases and so on. Like you want to focus on the other bad group. Like if you're trying to form an alliance against wokeism, and then you'll say, hey, look, these LGBTQ people have some of them have said they want to target kids. And so let's line up with Islam when these are the same guys that are saying they want child marriage and so on. And you ignore that. And guys, you have to be careful because guess what? Anyone in the world and anyone, no matter how bad in history, could do exactly this right here. I could be doing all sorts of horrible things, but look at what that other person is doing. Whereas, I mean, step number one in being an actual ethical person should be taking a look at yourself in your own life, and then you can worry about other people's problems. Matter of fact, Jesus said that. So why are you worried about the speck in your brother's eye when you've got a log or a beam in your own eye? Worry about the log in your own eye, then worry about other people.
I'm looking at Statista right now. I can't share this because of their famous copyrighted things. Statista looks at European countries by human trafficking as hotspots and puts Romania on the third place for human trafficking
because of the atheists there. AP, you do. Are you saying there are no Are you saying there's no atheists in Romania? Come on, AP. You know there are atheists there, and they're the ones doing all this. They're the ones doing all the sex trafficking, except for the Muslim and the Christian here who are doing it too.
This is so funny. It's like we are seeing the problem and the point here, right? This guy, I mean, as you have just said, in more religious terms, this guy just looks out into the world and all of these things that he doesn't like. He's like, oh, look, these people are doing those things. They're doing abortion. They're doing this and they're doing that. But then he is there doing human trafficking, corruption, bribery, possibly rape, which they are being accused of, organized crime and stuff like that. All of that is abundant and very high in Romania. And he doesn't see that as a problem. He sees problem in different things instead, which people are outraged about, which appeals to the current controversy and the current conversations that people are having, that conservatives are having, that others are having. So in my opinion, as I see it, he's just trying to play to the audience here and just trying to, appeal to the emotions of people who are listening to him in order to attract their sympathies.
And think this is the same guy who actually, again, trains people on how to seduce virgins.
Yeah.
Just to mess with them psychologically. But think about that. If you're talking to a 20 or 22-year-old young woman and she's still a virgin, that's probably a young woman who was waiting for marriage, right? She's waiting for the right guy to be married. And Tristan Tate's methodology is, how do you seduce her anyway? How do you take her virginity anyway? And he says you have to spend some time on it. You have to spend a few months basically grooming her for this. Then you take her virginity and then you get rid of her. Or, if you want to keep her as a webcam girl, you do that. And this is the guy who, hey, why did you, what's your problem with atheism? Why do you want to convert to Christianity? I looked around at the degeneracy of abortion. Really, not the degeneracy of the guy in the mirror. Not that degeneracy.
Oh boy, this is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Let me quickly bring up Tristan Tate. Where was that? I showed that last time, but this is a very good place to actually bring that up here.
Powerful.
Tristan Tate.
Talisman Tate.
Oh, here it is. This is one of the versions of footage where he talks about virgins. And here we have it. There's another one, I think, which is a little bit more disgusting, but I can't find it right now. But here, this is the guy who sits here and talks about degeneracy and corruption and stuff like that.
Nobody covers this topic. Nobody. So I'm going to talk to you.
I'm the only one evil enough to talk to you about this.
Virgins. Now, elite level playboys, these dorks who take these pictures with all these girls, they are usually paid. They're models, they're actresses, they're sent there by their agency. I do not pay for sex. I've never hired a prostitute in my life, and I won't. I don't need to. But when you don't pay for sex, there are advantages to that. You get the women no one else gets. Any sheikh in Dubai can hire a hottest Dubai escort and bang her. I could go to Dubai and bang the exact same escort. Why would I want to? That's disgusting. However, in my situation, you get access to girls that no one else has access to. When you run game like me and meet the women who I meet,
it's all about game, eh?
Circles I meet, you meet beautiful virgins sometimes.
Beautiful.
This sounds like how people describe paradise in Islam, where you will have beautiful virgins
for all eternity.
I'll do 2 or 3 virgins a year. Now, how do you date a virgin when you're an ice cold player? There is a tactic which I'm going to share with you on how to date a virgin and how to take a girl's virginity.
Pay attention. This is a course that Tristan Tate offers on their website, which people pay for. They pay for this, and he then sits there. So this is a video published as part of that course that people pay for, and he teaches his paying subscribers who are like, oh, these are such great role models, how to pick up many virgins and have sex with several virgins a year, because having sex with older women and with other women is just
and can you imagine
you should always get virgins.
Can you imagine how many like junior high school kids, middle school kids and stuff were like, Mom, can I borrow your credit card to sign up for the war room so I can take this important course? What's the course, honey? How to take the girl's virginity, and like learning these methods. And like these are the people that these guys are now celebrating as the pillars of morality that are the only thing in the way of them. They're the only thing stopping the matrix. They're the only thing preserving morality. These guys.
What did you learn today, son? Oh, I learned how to bang at least 3 virgins a year.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah, but I'm trying to up my game to get up to 6 virgins per year. I don't want to be with any of these girls, but I want to leave my imprint on them.
Yeah. Girlfriend for 3 months. Then we had very boring sex. That's how I had sex with my first virgin. Now, the recipe hasn't changed, but the tactics and the implementation has certainly changed. Be their boyfriend for 3 months and be in a nice relationship with them. That is the recipe. I'm sorry, guys. You want to run into a virgin and fuck her the next day? Don't ask me how. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. I don't even think it's possible. You have to be their boyfriend for an extended period of time. You then have to take her virginity on the 2nd month anniversary or something along those lines. And I'm going to teach you how to do it while still being in a playboy lifestyle scenario.
pay attention to what is actually happening here. This guy is not just talking about randomly having sex with virgins. He is talking about building a relationship with a virgin for the sole purpose of eventually having sex with her, while also aiming to establish relationships with other virgins and also having sex with them, and naturally, cheating on them and finally dumping them and so on.
What you do with your virgin is you turn everything into a date. I need to go have a business lunch with my brother or my friends. I make sure she's there. I Uber her in, I Uber her out. If I have to go for a drive, I make sure she's with me. I go to pick her up, do my drive, drop her off, go back home.
And so on, whatever. And so on. Is there anything else here?
Powerful. We need to learn these tactics, AP. So important to our lives. And if we learn this, we can really fight degeneracy in the world.
Yeah. What do you do with virgins? Don't get pushy and get your dick hard. If she won't huff you, do not let her touch you. And, you're a virgin, maybe you can S my D. It smells of desperation. Without S for one day, if she stays with you, and so on, and had a few drinks at the hotel. I've been her boyfriend for 3 months.
The hotel bar, take her upstairs. Virginity gone. As far as she's concerned, I've been her boyfriend for 3 months. She's in a long-term committed relationship, and all it's taken is me to order some Ubers when I'm having my free time with my friends. That is how I have added virgins to my list. 2 of the girls of my 6 were virgins when I met them. They're not anymore, but now they're mine.
These are
now they're mine.
Yeah, it's just amazing when you look at these guys, right? And it's basically everyone around them is being manipulated for their own personal gain, either sexual or financial gain. They're constantly tricking into all these videos we're constantly tricking and deceiving everyone around us into making money for us or to pleasuring us or something.
Yeah.
And then you've got all their fans right now when they're using the exact same methods of manipulation that they used to use. They're just using them on everybody around the globe right now, all their fans and so on. They're using the exact same methods. And all these dumb fans think, oh, there's no way these guys would be lying to us and manipulating us. No. Yeah. These guys just are telling us the truth, and they have only good intentions in mind. We know because they say so.
But David, you're taking this out of context. You're taking this video out of context.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, think about this. Think about an Andrew Tate or a Tristan Tate fan right now, and we say, guys, they're manipulating you. They have no real interest in you. They say no. Now go back in time to one of Tristan Tate's virgin girlfriends. A month into the relationship, you say, girl, he's just manipulating you. Look, this guy brags. This guy brags online about how this is his method. No, he loves me. He loves me. He keeps taking me to all these business meetings and stuff. He loves me. You can't tell me. I'm gonna have sex with him. It's like, how? Once you know someone's entire methodology is just manipulation, how in the name of common sense do you believe him? I have no idea, but
that is a very good point. It's a very good point. Just shift the time in which you specifically look at your relationship with these guys, whether you are in a sexual relationship or in a fanboy relationship, and then think about that again. Lots of people on their path thought, oh, no, these these 2 guys, they're completely genuine. I can trust them. They are reliable. And then they get dumped. And the whole time they have just been used for their pleasure or their monetary gain. Congratulations if you're a part of that.
Powerful.
I read it from front to back. Mm-hmm. And that was 6 years ago when I became a Christian. And I picked up the Bible again, and I read it from cover to cover, front to back. Mm-hmm. And that was 6 years ago when I became a Christian. Now, ever since Andrew's reversion, I have not spoken about my religious beliefs because there are teams on Twitter. So you guys get the exclusive. There are literally warring tribes on Twitter of Christian trolls, let's call them, and Muslim trolls, all fighting for my soul, Tristan, what do you believe in? Tristan, and I haven't mentioned my religion ever since Andrew's aversion to Islam. So there are people who think I'm a Muslim. There are people who know I'm a Christian.
This is such an interestingly nice form of narcissistic self-centeredness. I love it.
But for me, the values that are shared between the two faiths are both contrary to everything what Andrew would call the matrix is trying to shove down young people's throats and trying to.
All right, let's listen to this part one more time.
No, it's very simple, AP. The Matrix is run by atheists. And so the only thing that can stop the Matrix is a united front of Christian and Muslim webcam pimps to stand against the degeneracy of the atheistic Matrix. Something like that.
Both contrary to everything what Andrew would call the Matrix is trying to shove down young people's throats and trying to program people to believe.
All right, so Christianity and Islam are both in their values contrary to everything that the Matrix is trying to shove down your throat. And yeah, for example, the idea that human trafficking is a crime and that it is bad, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stupid Matrix. Getting in the way of
idiots.
Me taking a girl's virginity and making her become my webcam girl.
Now, I want to ask you. I want to ask you, David, since you are a Christian and I'm an atheist. I don't know. I'm stupid. I'm degenerate. I don't have any moral. I'm dumb.
Yeah. You're evil.
I'm completely fetishizing all the evil, terrible stuff in the world. I don't know. So I want to ask you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Tristan Tate is now my hero for helping me to combat you. But go ahead.
I want to ask you, in the light of everything that Tristan has just told us, he lures women into fake relationships, promises them wonderful love and this and that and marriages. And his brother does it as well. His brother primarily does it. And then they employ them as basically online porn slaves. And when they only want to work 1 hour a day, they tell them, no, you will work 12 hours today, and so on. And some people call this human trafficking for some reason. I don't know. But is this okay in Christianity? Is this is Christianity fundamentally supportive of this? And is Christianity opposed to the idea of shutting this down? Or
yeah, well, Christianity would have a massive problem with pretty much everything this guy says or has ever done, but the Matrix is the real enemy here. So we'll just focus on that. We'll give these guys a free pass on everything.
Fair point. Okay, fair point.
Okay.
Problem solved. See, that's how you
see.
I think the days
now
of
stop your degeneracy, AP.
murdering each other in crusades.
I just can't. I love the Matrix. I can't. I can't.
And trying to take the holy city of Jerusalem, etc., are over. I think that there are ideological differences, and there are ignorant Christians who will be like, "Oh yeah, but Islam's a fake religion." But then
how is that an ignorant Christian? If a Christian says, okay, and he will go on.
There are ignorant Muslims who will say, "Oh, Christianity is a fake religion." Good. You're supposed to think that. They're different religions, and they do teach different.
How does that make sense? Okay, at first it sounds very stupid when he says there are ignorant Christians who say Islam is a fake religion, and there are ignorant Muslims who say Christianity is a fake religion.
And you're supposed to believe that.
It's good. You're supposed to think that. How in the world does that make sense?
Yeah, there are ignorant people who think that 2 + 2 is 5, but you have to believe that. Because we've talked about this before. It's like it's all about like the cadence and the cadence of their voices and the confidence with which they speak. Andrew Tate and Tristan, maybe on certain topics they would know what they're like. If it comes to manipulating women, these guys are masters of their trade and so on. If it were kickboxing, these guys are. I mean, they're both. I mean, Andrew was a champion kickboxer. Tristan was I don't know what level of success he rose to, but I mean, I know that he was an excellent kickboxer. So there are all sorts of things that these guys know about. but they'll talk about everything with the same level of confidence, even if they're saying completely idiotic, insane things. And their fans just can't tell the difference, right? These guys just know everything they're talking about, where no wonder these guys fit in so well with the Dawa crowd, right? The Dawa crowd's the exact same thing. As long as you sound confident in what you're saying, most people will fall for the idea that you actually know what you're talking about, even if you're spouting complete nonsense.
Yeah. So what this guy basically says here is, Christians, some ignorant Christians think Islam is, fake, false. Some ignorant Muslims think Christianity is false.
And that's exactly what you're supposed to believe.
And it's okay. They're supposed to think that. What how does it make sense? And how do you even combine that? I mean, it's so wrong. I don't even know how to respond to it. Okay, fact, Christians are supposed to believe naturally that Islam is a false and fake religion, and Muslims are naturally supposed to believe that Christianity is falsehood and a corruption of a once true preaching, and it's fake.
That's exactly what you're supposed to believe, but you're ignorant if you do.
Fantastic.
That's what he just said.
Great point, Tristan.
Powerful.
You're a genius.
Talisman.
Things. They have different messengers, and they have slightly different messages. But as a whole,
slightly different.
I'm perfectly happy living in a house when my brother is a Muslim, because 1, I respect his decision. 2, I understand why he reverted. 3, I understand that we have a common enemy in. We have an enemy in common, and we have the exact same goals. I feel like the religions now should be closer than ever before. It's fine to say you believe things about God that I don't, and I believe things about God that you don't. But can we at least agree that this is wrong? And I feel like common ground would unite Christians and Muslims hand in hand if people were less standoffish. So,
this is a very, the world is a wonderful place. Let's put on these pink glasses and or whatever you use, however you say that phrase in English. I'm completely butchering it right now. And
notice what he just said, right? It's, hey, we agree on this, therefore we should unite against that.
Yeah,
you can apply that in all kinds of directions, right? Say, hey, me and AP both think that child marriage is wrong, therefore we should unite.
You see?
But guess what? Tons and tons and tons of atheists believe that child marriage is wrong, and tons of Christians believe that child marriage is wrong, and Islam teaches that child marriage is fine, therefore we should all be united. Well, guess what? In a sense, he's right. In a sense, he's right that if you agree with someone else, then you agree with them. You shouldn't have any problem with that idea. But I don't know. It seems like all these guys want to do this in one direction. Here's, Christians and Muslims agree on this, therefore they should unite again, against that. Whereas if you just say, well, Christians and lots of atheists and lots of Muslims, to be fair, find these guys' behavior absolutely reprehensible, therefore everyone should unite against these guys, suddenly they wouldn't think that's a good idea.
Exactly. Alhamdulillah. It is just ridiculous. And also one thing to point out is he says that there is, of course, harmony at home, and he has no problem living together with Andrew Tate, his brother, who is now a Muslim, and he's a Christian. I have to say one thing here, which is Andrew Tate is not living the life of a Muslim. Not at all.
Correct. Neither one of these guys is.
Yeah.
Neither one of these guys are living up to what they say.
Even though I am strictly against Islam, even though I have big problems with Islam, the way these people are living is not at all in alignment with Islamic morality, and neither is it with Christian morality. And at this point, it just looks like the both of these guys are using religion as a tool in order to do demagoguery, to appeal to the emotions of the very crowd that they consider useful for their own purposes politically, the crowd that supports them. They find that religion is more popular in this crowd, in this right-wing crowd that is currently suitable for them due to the messages that they are presenting. Therefore, they're using religion as a tool in order to appeal to the audience. And I don't want to create a conspiracy theory here, but don't you find it quite convenient that these are true brothers who are who are preaching and trying to act like they are the heroes of a conservative traditional society, and one of them is a Christian and one of them is a Muslim?
Yeah,
so that they have both of the religions and can take both of them behind themselves by just lying to them.
My only question, like what I can't tell, could go in either way. Like, are they aware of this? Like, do they know what they're doing? Like, do they know, hey, I'm going to portray myself as a Christian. I'm going to portray myself as a Muslim, specifically for purposes of manipulating an audience? Mm-hmm. Or are they just so narcissistic that they really can't see it? They're just incapable of any sort of self-examination. They're just incapable of seeing any problems, and they only focus on everyone else. And but yeah, guys, I mean, I keep saying it's the exact same thing. I am going to present myself in a certain way to get this girl to do what I want so that it serves me. And what are they doing right now? I'm presenting myself in a certain way in order to get our fans to behave in a certain way that then profits me. It's the exact same thing. And what you'll see over and over again, they could completely change sides on some issue, and like they could go woke right now and say, actually, we've rethought things and we're going to be super woke right now. And they would say things that the woke crowd agrees with, and then everyone, oh yay, they're on our side. They're on our side now. You see, oh, they acknowledge that their previous anti-woke stuff is wrong, and now their woke stuff is. It just seems like as the moment you say that you agree with someone on some important issue, the whole group falls down at your feet as their new hero. And this is interesting stuff right here.
There's just one thing that is very, very confusing to me, David, and it doesn't really make sense to me right now. Andrew Tate speaks about how he is a Muslim, and all the Muslims out there, they are very proud of it. They are, parading Andrew Tate as their hero. They're like, yeah, look at this guy. And they love him. Tristan Tate is here. He says that he's a Christian and he talks about Christian values. Yet you, as a Christian, you're not proud of him. What is
not happening? Not proud of that.
Why are you doing this, David?
We're not proud of that. It's the same thing with Kanye. I mean, Kanye several years ago announced that he had converted to Christianity. Every Christian I know had pretty much the exact same reaction. Happy for you. Really awesome. But before, we're going to put you forward as our new spokesman or something like that, we're going to have to see what happens over a period of several years. We describe this as you know a tree by its fruits, right? You have to see, okay, what kind of fruit does this tree bear over time? Instead, I mean, apparently in Islam, you just say, I'm a Muslim, and it doesn't matter what you've done and what you continue to do. They'll just cling to you, rally around you before they see what change anything is going to have on your life. And I guarantee there are plenty of Muslims right now who are watching all of this and going, Tate says he's not drinking alcohol anymore. Alhamdulillah. And it doesn't matter everything else he's doing and saying or teaching. He threw you that little bone, and that's enough for you. But yeah, it's notice, Tristan, we do not want you as our representative. If you believe in the gospel, that's great. But given the way that you are living and manipulating people and constantly lying about things, we don't want you as our representative. Whereas with Tate, I mean, my goodness, it's like, what would you have to do to get the Dawa crowd to turn on you? I mean, what would you have to do? You could literally be training people to be sex traffickers and groomers, and they're totally fine with it as long as you say, oh, I'm a Muslim now.
In fact, I'm not a big fan of tribalism. I'm not a big fan of representation, but I want to say one thing. At this point, Tristan, I'm really happy that you talk trash about atheism and atheists. So
that's something we can agree on.
Oh boy.
Oh, there's a cool part coming up in this video.
So I have no problem with my brother being a Muslim. He's quit drinking. I have lost my drinking partner.
There you go. See?
And the only reason I'm actually talking to you about religion and answering these questions, because I kept it very close to my heart and I haven't spoken to anybody about it, is because I am publicly drinking whiskey.
Well,
So-
if you need a new drinking partner, Tristan, I can help you out here.
Absolutely.
So,
And you're Jewish?
yes,
There we
most
go.
of the time.
So annotates. Okay.
Muslims refer to Christians and Jews as people of the book. That, and you have to understand that Muslims hold Christians in very high regard.
Yeah.
So I've read, even since getting out of jail, I've read 4 books.
Very high regard. We have to be subjugated, and
actually-
they're the worst of creatures, but high regard.
Yeah. And you will find Muslims often say something similar too, especially when they're talking to. This is very funny. Wait, that guy opposite to him is Jewish.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he talk about how Islam views Jews? Does he know?
Yeah. I mean, think about how interesting that conversation would have been, because the same guys interviewed Andrew Tate. Hey, Andrew, what do you think about what Muhammad said about fighting Jews? What do you think about that?
Wow.
Would be nice if there were some. I mean, if these guys are going to talk about their religion, great. Bring up something remotely resembling an accurate point to bring up, as far as look at what you just said. You just said, hey, Islam holds Christians in this high regard, but calls for them to be violently subjugated because of their belief that Jesus is the Son of God, and calls them the worst of creatures for rejecting Muhammad. It's pretty weird high regard. Hey, you're so bad that I'm going to violently subjugate you, and you are the worst of all creatures.
We have done this a lot of times, but I'm just going to do a few things here. I just want to bring up 3 sources here. Source number 1 is Quran chapter 98, verse 6, which says, "Indeed, those who disbelieve from among the people of the scripture and the polytheists, meaning those who did not adopt Islam, will be in the fire of hell, abiding eternally therein. Those are the worst of creatures."
Yeah,
Those
check out the
worst
Mosin
creatures.
Khan. The Mosin Khan, that's the same thing as the Haleli Khan right there. Verily, those who disbelieve in the religion of Islam, the Quran, and Prophet Muhammad. He's included the parenthetical commentaries goes back to Ibn Abbas, who refers to what you're disbelieving in. You're disbelieving in the religion of Islam, the Quran, and Muhammad. So those who disbelieve in the religion of Islam, the Quran, and Prophet Muhammad from among the people of the scripture, Jews and Christians, and al-mushrikun, will abide in the fire of hell. They are the worst of creatures. So those of you who reject Muhammad are the worst of creatures. Well, guess what? That's Jews in general. That's Christians in general. So Jews and Christians in general are this, according to the Quran, which respects them highly.
Obviously, the interpretation, the exegesis of this is, according to Tristan Tate, that Muslims hold Christians in very high regard. That's obviously what we take from here. Another issue is 929. It says, "Fight those who don't believe in Allah or in the last day, and who don't consider unlawful what Allah and His Messenger have made unlawful, who don't adopt the religion of truth, i.e. Islam, from among those who were given the scripture." So those who were given the scripture are Christians and Jews. If they don't accept Islam, if they don't accept the religion of truth, i.e. Islam, they are to be fought until they give the jizya, protection money, willingly, while they are humbled. This is an order by Allah to fight the Christians and the Jews if they do not accept Islam. And then in the next verse it says, "The Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah," which no Jew ever said.
This is the justification.
Yeah. And the Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. That is their statement from their mouths. They imitate the saying of those who disbelieved before. May Allah destroy them. How are they deluded? So this is the justification. Because Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, which no Jew ever said. And Christians say Messiah is the son of Allah. Therefore, you are supposed to fight them and subdue them unless they accept the true religion of Islam. And this is how much Islam values Christians and Jews and holds them in high regard. And finally, one of my favorite sources here that I love to go to is this hadith, which is authentic and which almost every Muslim in the world knows about. The last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree. And a stone or a tree would say, Muslim or servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. But the tree Gargat would not say, for it is the tree of the Jews. I learned this stuff when I was when I was like in first grade or something like that.
We've talked about this before, but this is probably like 8 or 9 years ago. But someone in Hollywood put out something from the founding charter of like Hamas or something like that, and it just stated this, right? It said we believe that the hour will not come until Muslims fight the Jews and so on. And they get all these Hollywood celebrities, actors, and so on from TV shows and movies and so on, and they all sign this document saying we condemn this comment from Hamas. And it's like Hamas is just saying exactly what Muhammad said. If they point, so if Hamas says it, you instantly recognize that this is really bad and dangerous, and you will condemn it. If you had told these same people, no, that's actually from Muhammad, oh well, you know, different cultures, and, yeah, it's fine. And Muhammad, that's so weird.
So I would really be interested in how the conversation would unfold if. Oh, by the way, there is also a verse which says that those most distant to Muslims would be the Jews, and
Surah 5.
I'm really wondering how the conversation would unfold if Tristan Tate was like, "Oh, you're a Jew? Oh, Islam, by the way, says that they will fight the Jews and kill them, every single one of them. And the trees and stones will say there's a Jew behind me, and it also says Jews are terrible, worst of creatures, and so on. By the way, but hey, we should all just stick together and stuff."
And imagine how interesting this would have just gotten if anyone had brought up any serious pushback to what Tristan is saying here. We love Jews and Christians. I mean, Muslims love Jews and Christians. Very high regard, very high regard. Hey, imagine this guy saying, "Hey, since I'm a Jew, I just wanted to ask what you think. Given what you just said, what do you think about this passage?" That would have been really interesting to hear Tristan's response. He's saying, Muslims love Christians and Jews.
He actually often engages with people who ask him stuff on Twitter, so maybe it should be brought up. And I don't know, they're still. I think they're still in house arrest right now. The house arrest has been extended for 30 days, and Andrew Tate is having a meltdown over that, which is very funny.
Well, I think he knows now the house arrest is going up through the trial. Like he's going to be on house arrest up until the trial starts. And so there's kind of no way out right now, right? I mean, I'm on house arrest and then I'm going to trial. And he knows what the evidence is against him. He knows what he's done. He knows who's testifying against him. And if he weren't on house arrest, that would have given him a possible way out of the country.
I would never laugh at somebody who says, "I'm struggling with my mental health," but in this case, especially if we're dealing with somebody who says mental health problems don't exist, depression is fake, when a guy like that tweets this, then I just laugh. "I know what they're going to do to me. I'm struggling to sleep for months now. I haven't slept more than 45 minutes uninterrupted. I guess you could say I'm struggling with my mental health, but I ensure I smile every day. I'm never miserable. The only answer I can find is to train like an animal. God gave me this struggle because God wants me stronger. I will give him what he wants." Yeah, of course, you're losing it. He said prior to this that he would be depressed, and we have transcripts from his jail calls, because the idiot was too dumb to understand that they would actually intercept the calls that he makes out of his jail cell, where he begs people to get him out and says, "Talk to this and this politician, tell them they will be rewarded greatly once I get out. Tell this and this accuser that you are going to sue them for $200 million. Pretend that you're a lawyer," and so on. So
yeah, what a dope.
Trying to get out.
Yeah, I don't know if they actually play the warning on phone calls from inmates in the U.S. They tell you this call may be monitored or recorded. They tell you. So I don't know. Maybe they don't tell him, and he's just completely dumb. But the reason you're seeing this breakdown is the mindset of a narcissist. You constantly feel like you're invincible and you can beat everyone around you, and no matter what they bring against you, you can outsmart everyone, you can outmanipulate everyone, you can get your supporters to crush those who come against you. And if you finally start realizing it's not working, I actually can't get out of this, I'm not going to outsmart everyone, it's like psychologically traumatic to him. Wait, I thought I could take on the entire world and win, and I'm losing.
I'm losing, and
you are not what you thought you were. You are not as good as you thought you were. That's got to be a bad feeling. And so, yeah, God's doing this because he wants me, not because God wants me to, God wants to hold me accountable for the things I've done. He just wants me to be stronger so I can fight the Matrix.
Crazy,
powerful stuff.
Quality stuff, powerful stuff.
Hey, again, there's a cool part of that Tristan video coming up where he talks about, I guess, people trying to bribe him into converting.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Let's go.
By a Muslim scholar who lives in the United Arab since getting out of jail. And I was actually quizzed by a Muslim scholar who lives in the United Arab Emirates. He said, Tristan, are you ever going to revert to Islam? And I said to him, reversion or conversion to any religion, I don't believe it's something that you do. I believe it's something that happens to you. If you look into a subject and you read the Bible, and you read about, Christianity, and you read about the life of Jesus Christ, you don't think, you know what, yes, screw it, I'm a Christian. I feel like it's something that would have to happen to me, not something I choose to do. And I've even had people say, oh, your life would be better if you revert to Islam because, there'd be benefits of you living in the Middle East, etc.
Benefits if you convert.
How disingenuous would that be?
You're at benefits in the Middle East if you convert to Islam. Interesting. I wonder if that was presented to his brother Andrew.
Converts with benefits.
With benefits.
What is happening here?
Converts
what is he
benefits.
Talking about?
Your life would be so much better if you converted to Islam.
What is he talking about? He's talking
I don't know.
Converts with benefits. What benefits is he talking about?
Just convert and you'll get some benefits there. Let's see where he goes.
What kind of benefits is he talking about? Huh.
But there'd be benefits. People say, oh, your life would be better if you revert to Islam because, there'd be benefits of you living in the Middle East, etc. And I said, no. How disingenuous would that be to my Muslim friends and colleagues, of which I have many, to revert for any beneficial reason other than me genuinely feeling it within my soul? Notice.
I mean, he just said it. In other words, if it wasn't clear what he's talking about, what he's being offered, there would be some real benefits towards you in the Middle East if you just convert to Islam. If he wasn't clear on exactly what he meant, he said, no, it would be disingenuous of me to convert for those benefits and not because I really believe it. So he wasn't being told, hey, you should convert because it's true and here's all the evidence. It was, hey, do you realize how popular and what kind of benefits you would have in the Middle East if you just converted to Islam? Isn't that basically Muhammad Hijab's message to you, like in a nutshell? Like, hey, things will go really, really well for you if you just convert to Islam.
Yeah. He told me in private. Muhammad Hijab told me in private messages. So like, hey, how about you convert back to Islam? How about you revert? You would instantly become very, very popular, and you would have a lot of good things. A lot of our leaders were former enemies of Islam. So why don't you come back and join us? There are lots of benefits. And now here is Tristan Tate. He's sitting here and explaining while trying to, as always, depict himself as so virtuous and so good. That's basically the whole existence of these two people. Whenever they talk about how great they are and how honorable and fantastic they are. He tries to depict himself as so honorable that he would never, ever just convert to a religion for, benefits, unless he has a moment and he believes in it. But he's giving away that people in the Middle East actually approached him and told him, hey, there will be benefits for you in the Middle East if you convert to Islam. So why are you not doing it? These people are so stupid. This is how Andrew Tate gives away stuff about himself that incriminates him, and Tristan Tate is sitting here giving away something that I'm really curious about now.
Chris in Christ commented. She said, "This is the Islamic prosperity gospel." For people who aren't familiar with the prosperity gospel, there are actual preachers who God wants you to be rich and convert to Christianity and claim your wealth, and God's going to shower you with money and so on. And this is kind of but it's totally correct in Islam. I mean, if you're a famous person and you convert to Islam, yes, there are wealthy people who would gladly shower you with money to go around influencing the next generation and getting them to convert to Islam. They will absolutely love you, which unfortunately for these guys calls into question how genuine these conversions are.
Calls into question everything. And this guy is sitting here like an idiot and talking about this. And I'm really wondering, now he's praising himself, saying, "Oh no, how disingenuous would that be of me to convert for some, benefits?"
Yeah.
But didn't your brother convert to Islam under the
notice that
guidance
that should have been the instant follow-up question. Even if he doesn't want to give details or something like that, the instant follow-up question should have been, if these guys wanted to push back on these guys at all, even slightly, the obvious follow-up is, hey, so you were told that it would be very beneficial to you to convert to Islam. Was that offer ever made to your brother? And of course it was, right? If they're coming at Tristan saying, hey, things will go really well for you, lots of benefits to converting to Islam, if you know what I'm talking about. Of course that was offered to Andrew. And then so the follow-up to that, whatever the answer is, okay, because notice, we know that that was offered to if they were offering that, if they were making that, trying to make that deal with Tristan, they're obviously presenting that to Andrew over the years. And so then did Andrew convert because of that? Or was that just a side perk for him that, yes, you get some benefits too, even though you're converting because you're so sincere? Was this just a side benefit for him? That would have been the issue. That would have been very interesting. And of course, he would have said, no, he's completely sincere. But come on, guys.
This is why I said before that I don't want to create a conspiracy theory here, but it seems kind of suspicious that both of these guys are trying to appeal to this whole masculine traditionalist type, and then one of them is a Muslim and one of them is a Christian, and they mention their religious stuff occasionally, where they're trying to gather from both religions people and have their support, and they're just using this as a tool, not because they actually value it or believe in it. That's what it looks like to me. But I'm not sure if that is the truth. But here is Tristan Tate saying that he is told, hey, there will be a lot of benefits for you in the Middle East if you convert to Islam, and his brother did it.
The the duck just said, I've seen the light. Please pay me, Muslims. Hey, pretty much any social media influencer with a big following could make that deal right now. You just have to find out who the right people are. But yes, they will gladly pay you.
There are people who are actually sponsored on YouTube, Western white people who to go and travel to these Middle Eastern countries. They are paid to go there and to advertise and tell everybody how amazing it is. But then they also end up speaking good stuff about Islam and Muslims, and it looks like that's probably part of the deal too.
Powerful.
Dear sheikhs from Dubai or wherever you are, maybe just get in touch, send me one of your offers. I might think about taking down my channel and reverting to Islam if I like what I'm reading. Just get in touch. I won't tell anybody about this. But yeah, that sounds very interesting. Isn't this amazing? These guys are
powerful.
I feel like there's something wrong with these two people.
Yeah, the source of their problems is narcissism. You can't see it. You think you can say whatever you want and no one's ever going to catch on because you are so insanely superior to everyone else.
Why don't they just shut up and not say these things that they shouldn't be saying in public? Why don't they learn from the mistakes of Yasser Qadi.
And even when he's blurting stuff like this out, notice it's all to show what a great person he is, right?
Yes, specifically.
For instance,
That's why he's doing it.
all the people tried to get me to convert by offering me all these benefits. So notice I just granted that there are wealthy people in the Muslim world offering to give you massive amounts of money for pretending to convert and becoming a Muslim. I just acknowledged that. But you see, I wouldn't do that because I'm so noble and wonderful. It would be disingenuous of me. And if you know anything about me and my course on deflowering virgins, it's that I'm not disingenuous. I'm always very, very sincere because I'm a great person. I would never tell a lie. It's like
I am.
That's the problem. In their efforts to show how wonderful and amazing they are, they will let the cat out of the bag on all kinds of other things.
I find this very funny. This is actually from an interview. Eugene Vidiniak, the Romanian lawyer defending Mr. Tate, said that his client had said many stupid things.
Well, we all agree on that. We can all agree on that one.
But that after his arrest, he stopped thinking about Romania. He said this in response to them asking, "Didn't Andrew Tate brag about, benefiting from corruption and about how corrupt Romania is and why he
that was
he likes it
stupid
for this reason?" And his lawyer said, "Oh, my client has said many stupid things in the past, but that changed." So
he now no longer thinks you guys are corrupt. He knows you're pretty serious about all this stuff. He takes it back.
Oh boy, the lawyers of these guys have a very tough job. If your clients are so dumb that they go out there and say all kinds of ridiculous, incriminating stuff to the public, which they shouldn't be saying, and you are then, okay, no, he didn't mean to say that. No, he said a lot of stupid things. No, that was actually he wasn't serious. If that's your job, wow, I feel bad for you.
Pretty rough.
Oh boy.
Not because I haven't chosen to, but because it hasn't happened to me.
Right. So that means it could happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
You said so.
The only thing I've ever heard come out of his mouth that I agree with so far is, yes, it doesn't just happen to you. You don't just decide to convert. It happens.
So you can agree with that. I'll agree with him talking about atheism and degeneracy.
I knew you were going to say that.
So interesting. You just said something earlier, real brief. You tweeted out, you said positive pregnancy test, ?
Yes.
Unsure what to do? This is the sign you were looking for.
Oh, no, they're talking about abortion. I think
now they're moving on to abortion.
I think this is done with the section about Islam. But what we have heard so far is, what we've heard in this whole section is that his brother stopped drinking alcohol, which I don't want to assume anything, but I highly doubt. This reminds me of Sneeko, who said that he quit drinking because he converted to Islam, and Muslims were like, "Yeah, look at that, he's trying." Then just a week later or so, he talks to a girl on video and says, "I don't." She asks, "Do you drink?" And he says, "No." Yeah, actually, I do. So. I don't know. Maybe he did indeed quit. I'm not sure. I cannot know that. Some complete ignorance about Islam and Christianity. Complete misrepresentation of how Islam views Christians and Jews. What else is there? Benefits for converting to Islam. That is the highlight that I think I'm very curious about, and I really want him to explain to us what exactly those benefits are.
Yeah, when we talked about that, someone said in the chat the exact same thing happened to AJ, the British boxer. I'm assuming that's Anthony Joshua, but I guess it's happened to AJ. Hey, why don't you convert to Islam? Things could turn out very well for you. I know 2 Arab Christian pastors who were offered massive amounts of money for converting and then saying that they converted because they examined the Bible and the Quran and they found out that the Quran is true. So you do have people waiting to shower you with money if you say something about positive about Islam. And there was that entire Wall Street Journal article years ago where back in the 90s, they had all these partly funded by Osama bin Laden back there. But they they had all these Western scientists that they were bringing to the Middle East, and they would give them these massively distorted quotations and say, hey, how could Muhammad have known this? The vast majority of the scientists said that doesn't look remotely impressive. But the few who actually said, yeah, I don't know how Muhammad could have known about that. These guys acknowledged that their vacations were paid for by these guys, and they were put up in the best hotels and given money and presents and showered with everything. And all they had to do was say something positive about Islam. And to this day, you can open up Muslim Dawah books and it'll say, and even Western scientists, when they were presented with this amazing information, had to grant that Muhammad could only have known this through miraculous means. And it's still used for Dawah. When it's interesting because what was that guy? The rationalizer. He interviewed these guys. So the Wall Street Journal went and found these scientists who said something positive. One of them called it mutual manipulation. They said, we got free stuff and all we had to do was say something about their religion. It's mutual manipulation. So yes, in exchange for free vacations and so on, we will say something nice about your religion. But the rationalizer had these guys on, was saying, hey, why don't we look at the entire do you really think there's anything miraculous here? And they're saying, no, there's nothing miraculous here. So, but notice you have that going on where people, wealthy, oil-rich people will gladly shower you with money or anything else you want if you just say something positive about Islam. And then the main work that's ever been used in this regard is Maurice Bucay's book about the amazing scientific insights in the Quran. And this is a guy who worked for King Faisal. He worked for King Faisal. And then he comes out with this book on the amazing scientific miracles. And he never converted. He never converted to Islam over this, but he put out the book. And we know that there are people who are willing to pay people to do that. And so, yeah, nothing suspicious here going on, ladies and gentlemen.
By the way, all of his deeds will be swept away like nothing, and then he will go and be punished with the rest of the disbelievers. So I don't know why these guys are referencing that guy here. It's also funny to me. I don't know if I was offered a lot of stuff to go to Saudi Arabia. I don't think I would go to Saudi Arabia.
Will you be killed? You mean if you were just a
no, if I was a random person. But
okay, if you're a random person.
Who in the world wants to go to Saudi Arabia?
Sure. Who doesn't? It's only the coolest place in the world.
Even for benefits. But hey, Tristan, Tate, I'm really interested to hear what kinds of benefits were offered to you and what kind of a convert with benefits Andrew Tate, your brother, is, and what kind of benefits he got.
We got to make a video called "Converts with Benefits." That's too, and just discuss that trait, that clip from Tristan, and then any examples of it.
By the way, I'm going to read super chats now, and in order to, I don't even know how to put this, but please shower me with money, with gifts, with benefits, so that I can do whatever you want me to do, everybody. Which I will not eventually do, because that's how good I am. You know, how disingenuous would it be of me to just do something for benefits? It has to happen on its own, out of my control. But yeah, just offer me a bunch of money, make a bunch of super chats. I don't know, $500, $1,000, $5,000. I don't know. I don't care. But yeah, anything else that you want to add before we go into the super chats, David?
No.
No. Okay. A very quick question to you, just out of curiosity. If you were hypothetically offered more money than you can ever think of by a sheikh in Dubai, and guarantees income, all kinds of homes, whatever you want for the rest of your life, for your family and your kids, would you convert to Islam, David?
No, you could. You could offer me. You could agree to make me king of the world to convert to Islam. Yeah, not happening.
Yeah, I don't believe it. Amplified Nonsense said, David, can you make a video explaining Ezekiel 23:20?
Maybe, I don't know, at some point. I've always thought it was such a such a dumb argument if you just read it. But that's the passage where they're talking about God's talking about Israel, and he's basically saying, like, he's comparing it to finding a woman and taking care of her, and then instead of wanting to remain faithful to her husband, she starts lusting after a donkey, right? And lusting after a donkey. And they just quote out the part about a woman lusting after a donkey, and they say, "Oh, how could this be in there? That's so disgusting," right? It's supposed to be disgusting. It's supposed to be the most disgusting thing ever, because that's what God's saying. He's saying, me taking you, nation of Israel, and taking care of you, that's like a man taking care of a woman and them having a marriage. And then the woman, he's talking to Israel here, you then going out and wanting to go to idols and start worshiping other gods. That's like a man having a wife, and then she goes and lust after a donkey. That's how God is describing how disgusting that behavior is. So it's supposed to be the most disgusting thing you can imagine. Like your wife all of a sudden one day says, I really want to go. I'm really turned on by that donkey out there. It's supposed to be the most disgusting thing you can imagine. God is telling them, this is what you're basically doing when you go after these pagan gods and so on. But for some reason, Muslims will just look at it. And so the question for Muslims would be, are you Muslims saying that it's not that bad? Are you saying that it's not that comparison is not true? That a woman lusting after a donkey would actually be much worse than, because these are the same guys who say wishing Merry Christmas is worse than murdering people, right? So yeah, but really all you have to do is read the passage. And so the only thing you could say is, one, you could say, no, God taking a nation and forming a nation and taking care of a nation isn't as, and then that nation deciding to go worship pagan gods isn't as bad as a woman lusting after a donkey. So you can say it's not really that bad. I can't imagine a Muslim saying that, because they would regard shirk or polytheism as worse than a woman doing that. So I can't imagine them saying that it's not as bad. So the only thing you could say is, but God shouldn't say that it's that bad. God shouldn't use that kind of language to say how bad these practices are. But I mean, if you're going to say that, I mean, in your religion, you just slaughter everyone over doing this stuff. So wait a minute, you can slaughter everyone, but you don't give them a comparison to show them how bad it is. You slaughter them to show how bad it is, but you don't use a graphic example to show how disgusting a practice is. So yeah, it's going to have to, I know Muslims still use it, but I don't know, maybe it's possible. It's possible I'll make a video out of it.
This reminds me of Muslims saying, Bible is so corrupt that they even insult prophet Lut and depict him in such
not even a prophet. He's not even a prophet in the Bible.
Yeah.
And again, it's supposed to be showing how bad this is. And they go, oh, how could you describe a prophet this way?
That's just ignorance. It's just ignorance on the behalf of Muslims, unfortunately. Cedric said, so the Tates plus Islam more apostates. Yeah.
I believe so.
I believe so.
I believe so. It's everything. Every decision the Dawa guys make is basically short-term gain, long-term loss. It's, we can cling on this thing right now for popularity or something like that. We can tell a lie right now. We can make up an argument for Islam, and it might help you in the very short term. In the long term, it exposes your true colors and doesn't work out for you.
So here's an argument for Islam, actually, David. What you don't see is Islam is so wonderful, so miraculous, that rich people go out offering benefits to others to convert to Islam.
Power of Islam.
That's how great and how powerful Islam is. You see,
how could these guys be rich enough to do this if it weren't true?
How could they want to give away all their money to random people if Islam wasn't true?
This is the proof. The proof.
Man, if that just doesn't show how desperate the Islamic dawah is, I don't know what else will.
But I mean, think about it. I mean, this all goes back to Muhammad when he was just saying, hey, there's only one God. He did not get a lot of converts. Once he said, hey, our new deal, everyone who fights for me, you either survive the battle or you don't. If you survive the battle, then you return home with rewards and war booty. Or if you die, you go to paradise and you get to spend eternity deflowering virgins. Win-win. Right? But notice, either way, guys, it's it's to your benefit to convert, not because of absolute oneness of Allah or anything like that. You're getting lots of stuff. You're either taking people's wives and daughters as your sex slaves, in which case you get to bone a lot of girls, or you go to paradise and you spend eternity deflowering virgins. That was Muhammad's method of winning. That's what gave him success at winning converts. We shouldn't be surprised that 14 centuries later they're still doing the same thing.
Alhamdulillah. I thought you were going to do a word game here and a word play here and say, if you die in battle, no, if you wait, what? If you win in battle, then you will get war booty, and if you die, then you will get
virgin booty. Yeah, war booty or more booty, huh? War booty or more booty.
Yeah, that's where my mind goes. The perfect Muslim. Why to be consistent, right? Yeah, exactly. David Anaya. Thank you, David Anaya. Chris Cake said, "Why would anyone like a baked tater with their halal dinner?" Yeah. What is a tater? What is a tater tot? What are those things?
You don't know what a tater tot is?
I don't even know what those things are.
Yeah, they're made from potatoes. You just put in a little ball and you bake it in the oven, or if you're really cool, you fry it in oil.
Wait, is that what it's called? Why it's called tater, because it's potatoes?
Yeah, it's like a French fry, but they actually cut it up and then mash it into a cylinder shape, and you get a big bag of them and cook them up. And
I see it now. I see the picture now. I'm hungry.
Next time you're hanging out with me, I'll make you tater tots, man.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm buying my tickets now. Cedric said, "Where is your source for that? Hijab 2023."
That's from that famous clip. Hey, Muhammad Hijab, we understand that the Muslim position is perfect, dot for dot, letter for letter. What's your source for that? What's your source for that? You and all the scholars you've been quoting for years. Anyway.
Jawad Farhad made a super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate your contributions. Chris K said the Antichrist will look like a Tate. Possibly.
I've seen Muslims point that out. We've talked about it before. There was a tweet by a Muslim who said, "I've always been confused by claims that Muslims will actually follow the Antichrist." And he said, "It never made sense to me until I saw how Muslims rallied around Andrew Tate." And he said, I'm firmly convinced that as long as someone comes along and says, I'm a Muslim, and starts spouting all kinds of misogynistic stuff, Muslims will rally around him. That came from a Muslim.
I mean, the guy basically says, I am God. And Muslims are like, well, give him time. He's still learning.
Yeah, he doesn't know any better.
Jeez. Wow, man. It's so messed up. It is so messed up. The Tates confuse prophets with prophets.
Yeah.
St. Miles said Tate are from Clown World. Absolutely. Thanks, St. Miles, always. St. Miles. Christ is salvation. Say, God bless you both. Thank you. I appreciate that. Desert Empire says Sheikh Uthman and Sneaker were live. You guys should definitely watch it. David is mentioned.
Wait, Sheikh Ibn Fibbin?
Ibn Fibbin.
I got ketchup I spilled ketchup from my tater tots, and the Islamophobes got me.
He talked about he mentioned you. He mentioned David, and he didn't mention me this time.
Yeah, that's a dirtbag move.
How? I thought he always mentions us together.
Isn't it amazing? But notice it's the same thing we see with Andrew Tate. Once you are the hero of the Dawa community for any reason, you can do no wrong. I mean, this guy. Non-Muslims call Sheikh Uthman Sheikh Ibn Smollett for faking a hate crime about himself to get attention, and then just flat out lying to Muslims saying, oh yeah, and they got the guy, and he's been arrested. And so people went to, first people are contacting the police department. Hey, he says that, this is being investigated, and he's handed over the evidence, and he's filed the reports, and the guy's been arrested. The police department's going, we have no clue what you're talking about. We have no clue about any of this. And he's saying this guy's been prosecuting and he's in jail. And then people contact the prosecutors like, we have no record of any of this. What in the world are you talking about? But notice, he will sit there and say to Muslims, doesn't matter, in a mosque, yes, I was attacked. I gave them the evidence. The man was arrested. He was prosecuted. He went to trial. He's in jail now. It's a complete lie. He will gladly lie to Muslims for attention, and it doesn't matter what he does as long as he is owning the unbelievers. They just don't care. Free pass on anything. Same as Andrew Tate.
I find it outrageous to imply that Sheikh Uthman would lie. So I don't believe for a second that he made any of that up. I think that he's of course telling the truth. So I would just ask Sheikh Uthman to be to do what is right and to show to all of these people out there, these enemies of Islam, that he was actually telling the truth. To give us the receipts, to go there on video and say, "Hey, didn't I come here and do this and this and this?" and show all the data. And I think that would be very beneficial for the Ummah and for the Kuffar as well. Dear Sheikh Uthman, please.
Note, even before all of that, he had tweeted out that he supports fighting and enslaving, fighting unbelievers and enslaving their wives and so on. He tweeted that. And then it was brought up to him in a live stream. And people asked, "Hey, what do you mean by that? What are you talking about? Are you actually supporting this stuff?" And he's like, yeah, when I wrote that, blah, blah, blah. Or he said, when I said that, blah, 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 blah. And then later we bring it up to him and he says, no, that was an assistant. He had nothing to do with that. And he got rid of that assistant for saying that awful thing that he doesn't agree with. And so then we pointed out, wait a minute, you said in a live stream, yes, that was you. So one, it's from your account. You said that you said it. And then apparently he responded, but I said it, but I didn't say I tweeted it. Haha. And every step of the way, his fans agree with him. Like, he can obviously be lying right to their faces. And they will just, he owned you all. He said he tweeted it. I mean, he didn't say he tweeted it. He didn't say he tweeted it. Oh, he said it. He didn't say he tweeted it. And this will be the owning the unbelievers. And these are the guys they're left with as their champions.
This actually shows the power of Islam once again. And
it is powerful.
It's extremely powerful. Goldie said, in what other religion can you possibly say completely contradictory things so much and have people believe you every single time? You can't do this in any other religion. This just shows the greatness of Islam. Goldie said, just supporting the channel. Big love from South Florida. That is all. Thank you. I appreciate that. I will do my duties by going down to Florida and contributing to the climate of Florida. I don't know, but yeah, thank you. Sarah Rainey said, this isn't going to get you to convert. I still appreciate it. Thank you. Saint Charbel Miracle Worker said, Tate will have a captive audience in prison for his course. Good luck finding a virgin in prison. That's rough. Captive audience in prison. That's an interesting choice of words. House of Hikmah said, AP, there's tons of benefits to converting to Christianity.
Gave you $4.99.
Yeah.
You get paid, son.
I'll check that out. I'll get back to you. Yusuf Wheezy said, can you get John Zerka on? It would be a blast. Now, I know a little bit about Zerka. He's of Albanian origin, comes from a Muslim family background, but he himself is not a Muslim. He's a Christian. Or to be very honest, to be very fair here, I think he says he believes in Christianity, but he doesn't call himself a Christian because he is very degenerate, and he thinks it is not fair of himself to call himself a Christian, and it would be he would be muddying the image and the name of Christianity or something like that. So he only refers to people who actually observe their religion properly as Christians, and he says, I only believe, I'm not really a Christian, which is very funny. There's a distinction here between a Christian attitude and a Christian attitude and a Muslim attitude, where as a Muslim you can do whatever in the world you want. You are just being propagated as a Muslim. You are a Muslim even if you go out and bang virgins 3 a year and join gangs and do all kinds of stuff and sell and buy drugs and do drugs. But with Christianity, it seems to be a little bit different in this case, right? Being part of the religion or assuming the identity is different in these both religions.
And you have Muslims who are like that, because Dave Chappelle says he believes in Islam, but doesn't go around saying it because he's not really living according to it. So you do have that, but yeah, it's what you find is that if someone does say, hey, I'm a Christian and I'm living completely in contrast with the teachings of Christianity, you're not going to be propped up and celebrated for that sort of thing. But in Islam, you could have no concern at all for following anything Islamic, even be bragging that you're God. But as long as you say, and Islam is true, and I stop drinking, free pass on everything.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to say about Zerka, I don't think I would actually collaborate with that guy, to be very honest. I think he's just too far gone. I would say, from my point of view, too problematic, degenerate, toxic. I don't have an issue with degeneracy.
No, you're an atheist. You're an atheist. It's your
Depending
favorite thing.
Depending on what degeneracy you're talking about, but the guy is
they're interchangeable. Atheism and degeneracy, they're like interchangeable. They're synonyms.
That's true. It's true, and I like degeneracy. But it when we talk about Zerka, he's just one of those people. I don't think I would find it beneficial to have him here on my channel at all. But yeah, he's somebody who brags about pretty messed up stuff. No, I'm not going to do that. Something I've wondered: why does Islam exist if even the Quran says the Bible and Torah is true? Why not just adopt Christianity or Judaism? Because Muhammad had to be the one. He had to be the one. He had to be sent to the ignorant people of Arabia who didn't know and who never had a prophet before. That's why Muhammad had to be sent to tell them, hey, it's all going down soon, and I have come to warn you.
That is one of the most important, what you just said is one of the most important and misunderstood facts about Islam, is that according to Islam, it's actually very simple. According to Islam, according to the Quran, Judaism and Christianity are just forms of Islam. In other words, they were all just worship of the one God, but Allah sent prophets to every nation in the world and gave people different revelations and so on, but they're all Islam. And that Jews and Christians were corrupting their religion, not because their books are corrupted, but because they're preaching falsehood with their mouths. But according to the Quran, Islam, in the sense of following Muhammad is the seal of the prophets, just because the Arabs were the last people to get their revelation. Every other group in the world already had its revelation in its own language. The Arabs were the last people to receive their revelation. And so Muhammad is the seal of the prophets in the sense of he's just the last one. Now everyone's got their revelation. But Allah even asks in the Quran, Surah 5, verse 43, when Jews come to Muhammad to settle a dispute, Allah's response is, why are they coming to you when they have the Torah? It's, hey, that's their book. They need to judge by their book. Christians, 547 says Christians need to judge by the gospel. And it's Muhammad's followers who judge by the Quran. So the correct response according to the Quran is, if you are not an Arab, you should be following the revelation that was given in your language. It doesn't actually work, because you go around saying, what are the revelations in these other languages? And the only thing they can point to is some books of the Bible, which they say they're forced to say have been corrupted because they don't line up with the Quran. So it's a big mess, and there is no coherent position on this. Muslims just have to ignore what the Quran says about Judaism and Christianity and the previous scriptures and so on, because there's no way it's a problem for them.
Alhamdulillah. And yeah, Allah is like, hey, why is you Christians and Jews coming to my prophet proof? You got your own book in it.
Why is them Jews coming to get them revelation from your Muhammad when they don't be needing these things? They's got their own book
In it.
in it.
All right. I think that's it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's it. Tomorrow we will be live on David Wood's channel to talk about.
I'll be live twice. You will be definitely joining me at 8. You're welcome to join at 5. At 5 o'clock, I'm going to have someone who's written a journal article on the history of the text of the Quran. He's going to be joining me or us, however things turn out tomorrow. And then at 8 o'clock, I'm thinking we looked at Ali Dawa's first video where he announced briefly that the scientific miracles argument has been debunked. We're going to take a closer look at his follow-up video where he doubled down, blasted it, and said, of course, the argument from scientific miracles, of course, that's been completely debunked. It's a joke. It's lame. It's horrible. And he says the new reason for converting to Islam is, he specifically says it, the intolerance of Islam. So his new argument for Islam, the real reason people should be converting, is intolerance. And notice that's the exact same position that, you know, a neo-Nazi could argue for, right? The reason you should be a neo-Nazi, the reason you should join the KKK is because, hey, we're intolerant. So, you know, you're attracted to intolerance, aren't you? That's the new Dawa.
This is proof that neo-Nazism is the true.
You see.
It's very good that they have adopted the great God Andrew Tate's message of intolerance is good, therefore Islam is the correct religion to pick. That's fantastic. Alhamdulillah, Andrew Tate. Yeah.
Powerful.
Fantastic. Alhamdulillah. All right. Ben West said Dan Gibson was on with Al Fadi, and he said unlettered didn't mean Mo was illiterate, but that the Arabs didn't have a book. Yeah, that's one of the interpretations.
Yeah, when I'm describing Muhammad, I will refer to him as an illiterate 7th century Arabian caravan robber, but that is mainly just because Muslims use it as an argument. Like, how could someone who was completely illiterate know these things? In the Muslim sources, there are serious reasons to question whether Muhammad was illiterate. There are reasons to think that he wasn't. But you can point that out when that's being discussed. Was he really? Does unlettered mean illiterate there? But as long as Muslims keep bragging about it, I'll keep throwing it in their faces.
Alhamdulillah. And with that said, Cole said good night, Blackstone worshipper. And somebody said dollar. Somebody said ha 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 ha.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. And yeah, everybody, thanks everyone for watching. We will stay active and see what happens next. We almost had a civil war in Russia going on, and people were talking about
yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, and which I'm kind of sad that nothing happened. I was kind of happy that things are getting out of control and there was going to be chaos, and finally
that was interesting. That leader of the mercenary group turns and starts heading towards Moscow after taking over the city. My goodness.
Yeah.
That looked like that was going to be really interesting. And then everyone's saying, but Putin's just going to crush this dude. But then this dude calls on the Russian National Guard to side with him. And I was like, gosh, this is.
And the National Guard, they were actually they are marching through cities, and the guards are standing down and not stopping them mostly, or just surrendering. So it seemed really, Putin was really in trouble, and I think he was getting loose stools. But the dictator of Belarus came together and made a truce with those people for the betterment of the Russian people. Yeah, but people were talking about nuclear war again, which was really, really messed up. And I don't have much against nuclear war. The worst thing about nuclear war is...
I don't have much against nuclear war.
The worst thing about nuclear war is that people start pronouncing nuclear as nuclear.
Yeah,
that is the worst thing about nuclear war.
Yeah, you had presidents who, Jimmy Carter couldn't pronounce it. I think George W. used to say nuclear.
Yeah, terrible, terrible.
Nuclear.
That is worse than any damage that could possibly result from a nuclear war.
Nuclear weapons.
No, I'm glad to see that things didn't go really bad. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic night and day and midnight sun, and we will see you again on the next episode of the most watched show on the planet, Apostate News. And for now, I will leave you alone with a very profound message by one individual who's known as Sajid Lipin. Thank you.
Stay away from Islam.
Okay.